Location Assist was originally designed as a do not get lost aid, as I had a tendency to wander off in the forest while picking mushrooms or hiking. The idea was to maintain a crumb trail, the collection of visited locations, so you can always get back to where you started from, especially in the areas where a navigation app like Google Maps would be useless. I also wanted to have an app that shows your speed, location, total covered distance, and other data in a window that can float on top of other applications that you might be using at the time. So here it is. When you run the app for the first time, you have to acknowledge that it collects data in the background to perform its functions. Data is not broadcast anywhere, so the app cannot be used to track your location. So you accept disclaimer, and after that, you have to permit the app to draw over other applications and access both precise and coarse location. Now you can see the main screen of the application. Please pay attention to the Help button in the upper right corner of the screen. I highly recommend reading the Help page. It has a lot of very useful information, and also know that every other screen in the application has also a Help button with the corresponding page that describes its operations. At this screen, you can select what parameters you want to see on the floating label by toggling those options. They're in a yellow list view. Upper two lines are reserved for the background color of the label and the automatic backup of the crumb trail every 50 crumbs if you desire so. There are 4 spinner selectors: update rate, distance units, meters, kilometers, feet, yards, miles, nautical miles, speed units, miles per second, kilometers per hour, miles per hour, feet per second, knots, and accuracy that ranges between 1 and 20. Location accuracy works like this. The lower the accuracy number you select, the more locations will be rejected, since your GPS devices probably cannot be accurate more than 5 meters. So 5-10 meter accuracy is sufficient. So now you're ready to start the application. You push the start button, and now you have to wait for the fix, because presently I am indoors and it takes some time for the GPS device to pick up a satellite signal. So now we have our first reading. I can immediately show you that the transparent background currently selected can be switched to the white background and vice versa. Also, you can change the size of the label by pushing the label size button. And for example, now we go from value 4 to value 2, I believe. So now the data is being collected every 10 seconds. We can change the collection rate to every 1 second, and you do your activities, and at any moment you can push on the floating label and you can see the summary of your trip. If you want to hide the label, you can click the little compass icon in the upper left corner of the label like this, and the label will be hidden. Now, if we want to deactivate our application and go back, for example, and select Google Maps, you will see that the floating label keeps running on top of the Google Maps. That is a completely separate application from the Location Assist. So basically you can utilize that label for your own needs and purposes. So once we are done with our application, or I should say our trip, we should push the stop button and we immediately see the summary of our trip. We can save this summary by giving it a name. Let's call it Trip A. And you can also share Trip A as a text where any communication means installed on your device, such as email, various messengers, etc. Note that since the trip summary was named, if we're gonna come back and push on trips, we will see trip A in the list view, and we can actually view the trip A parameters. So let's start the data collection again. And now if we push on the tracks, we will be presented with the track screen, which is kind of a main screen of this application. On the crumb trail or track screen, you will see your starting location as a green dot, current location as a red dot, and all locations you visited as white dots. You can zoom in and out your track via controls in the lower right corner. Plus, minus, you can drag to examine various parts of the track and restore the zoom level. On top, you see the width and height of the rectangle that bounds your track. Presently, the unit measure is yards. That can be changed on the main screen. And in the underneath, you see the GPS coordinates of the view center. In the upper left corner, you see a menu icon with 7 options. First option is to backup trail, which simply stores the track into a file. Playback lets you animate your track from the beginning to end, as you can see here. Once the animation finishes, you have a chance either to replay it or to get out of the playback, you click on the X in the upper right corner. Clear crumbs removes all crumbs from the current track. Other options include Manage Tracks, Manage GPX files, Manage Track Waypoints, and Manage Global Waypoints. Here we are at the Manage Tracks screen. This screen lets you name a track and save it so it can be loaded later in case you want to follow it. You can replace the current track with a previously saved, which is basically preloading an already saved track as current for you to follow or observe. Merge with selected allows you to insert the selected track before the presently accumulated crumbs. You can insert as many tracks as you want. You can save the current track in the GPX format so you can later import it into an app such as Google Maps for rendering. You can also delete the previously saved track. So let's see. If we select this particular track and say replace with current, you can see that it's been plotted. Now if we go back, we select this one and say merge with selected, you see both of them together. Let's minimize the label. And now let's play back those two tracks stacked together. Manage GPX file screen lets you delete a GPX file, share a GPX file as an attachment via whatever means your device has available, such as email, messengers, etc. If you have a file manager installed, you can copy a selected GPX file to another folder on your device. You can convert a GPX file into a track that can be displayed on the track screen, and you can also import a GPX file via file picker from a folder on your device into the app, so it will appear in the list view and later be converted into a track. So a typical scenario would be emailing a GPX file with the hiking trail you want to follow, save it into a downloads folder on your device, and later importing it into the LocationAssist app. So let's see, here we have selected convert. So we do select a loaded GPX and we do a conversion. Now if we go to the manage track screen and we select loaded and say current replace with selected, we see that particular track displayed. Now if we want to like I mentioned before, import an external GPX file into the application. We say import external, and let's say we select this one particular that's called from Remapa. And now we already have it in our application. So again, we can do selection, convert. And now if we come back to the track screen, clear all the cramps and say manage tracks, select from Remapa, replace with selected. Now we have a visual representation of that particular track on our screen. Let's illustrate adding a waypoint to the particular track. Now we have a track called from Remapa and we want to add a waypoint to it. To do it is to go to the manage track waypoints, or create a waypoint, let's call it a landmark. And the waypoint has been added. If you select it, you see its coordinates. Now if we go back, we will see that landmark now is attached to the currently loaded track. If we do a backup track, which means that we permanently attached the waypoint to the track. So if we clear crumbs, then come back to manage tracks, select from Remapa and load it, we see that landmark is there. There is another type of waypoints in this application, global waypoints, and I will describe its usage later. On this screen we can manage global waypoints. You can create a global waypoint either with a specific location or the current location. A current location will have a GPS location of your device at the moment of its creation, or the last good location if you have no fix at the moment of creation. For a specific location, you have to type in latitude and longitude. So let's create a global waypoint with a specific location with the latitude of 41.0 and the longitude of minus 74.0. See, I forgot to provide a name, so the system prompted me to create a waypoint with the name. So I created a waypoint, global waypoint, and I also called it global. Now, what I can do, if I can select this global waypoint and attach it to the current track. So if we're gonna go back, we will see that our track now has two waypoints. One the previously created called landmark and another is global. Also notice that the view was expanded to show both the track and a global waypoint. So if we're gonna go back now to the local waypoints, we'll see that landmark now is a part of a from Remapa track. So if we're gonna go back to the global waypoint screen, we can also select again the global waypoint and delete it. But if we go back, we'll see that it still is a part of a Remapa track.